Boy, oh boy, we have got Mashle Season 2 on deck right now, and they don't waste time showing us the aftermath of that whole mess from the first season's finale. Namely, our deadpan dummy of a hunky hero's secret has been exposed, that he is a dirty, magicless muggle. On the bright side, running through the Magiolupus's ranks like Diddy runs through bottles of baby oil has paid off for our hero, because now, Mash has basically made this entire gang of brats from the Lang dorm into his they're sort of friends right now, is what we're saying. In fact, Abyss even does our boy a solid and informs Mash about Innocent Zero's ongoing chub for him. And hey, nothing says friendship better than good old-fashioned snitching, because Abyss also tells Mash that Abel isn't actually a blue-chip prospect, also known in this magical weeaboo world as a three-line mage. Oh, and it seems that Abel's being hunted down by Innocent Zero, too, since he did such a crap job during Season 1. Serves you right, you puppet-making asshat. But Mash has bigger things to do right now than worry about Abel's incompetence, because it doesn't take long before the heads of Easton Academy call for, mashed potatoes, especially those divine visionaries, the dicks. But there is one divine visionary that's not as insufferable as all the others, Rio Grants. He is the only guy who's like, are you idiots sure you want to mess with this dude? He can literally pop your nutsack with a death stare. And everyone's all like, yeah, off with his head! Hold on, did he just say something about popping nutsacks? Exactly. Now, the judge of Mash's tribunal, a guy named Bless, is revealed to have been infected by Innocent Zero with a magic parasite. You see, Innocent Zero did this to make sure that Bless renders a verdict in favor of their quote-unquote property, which happens to be Mash. So yeah, assume much? Still, say what you will about these criminals, but at least Innocent Zero knows how to value a hunk when they see one. Besides, Mash ends up saving Bless by ripping the magic parasite away. This causes the Divine Visionaries to get into a huge argument about whether or not they should execute our boy. So out comes Mashle Dumbledore, aka Headmaster Wahlberg, to fix things. Wahlberg's all right nerds, we're gonna let Mash live. And the magical lynch mob's all like, but we brought out our pitchforks and everything! Well, fork you then, we're doing this shit. Alright, just think about it. We have a walking super weapon in our hands and you wanna kill him? You wanna kill him. Alright? Everyone agrees to spare Mash's life in the end, thanks to Wahlberg's classic turn the underage kid into a weapon of mass destruction argument, which isn't anything like we've seen in other shonen anime before. Jujutsu Kaisen! Naruto! Attack on Titan! Oh, God. Anyway, that's settled, and they give Mash even more homework to be a bona fide divine visionary. Geez, these wizards are such a demanding bunch, aren't they? Later, Mash and his Adler pal celebrate our boy's indefinite postponement of execution by going into town for some completely legal fun. Lance pretty much sets up the plot of Season 2 and tells our hero about the upcoming divine visionary exams, while Mash finally gets a wand. And it's no ordinary magic stick either, it's basically the Mjolnir of Mashle. Oh, and our boy got it for free! Somewhere else, Order, a divine visionary with eyes deader than J.K. Rowling's relationship with Emma Watson, employs Orchid Dorm's perfect Margaret to F with Mash so he fails to take the upcoming exams. Meanwhile, Mash takes his buddies to his dad's house deep in the woods for a quick check-in. Old man Regro's just happy that his beautiful idiot of a son has a ride-or-die crew now. Back at Margaret, they get blue-balled from doing their job after Rain susses out that Order's attempting to mess with our hero. A scuffle ensues between Margaret and Rain, while Mash and his pals just chill inside their woodland hut. As you'd expect, trouble finds Mash yet again when he sneaks out of the house to freebase one of his favorite cream puffs. This results in our boy stumbling into Rain and Margaret's ongoing magic duel. Somewhere else, Wahlberg dumps some exposition on our dumb muggle heads by explaining how this whole 2-line, 3-line magic mumbo-jumbo works. The long and short of it is that the world of Mashle thinks that 3-liners are God's gift to witchcraft and wizardry. Oh, and the big reveal, Rain actually happens to be a legit 3-liner. He's basically the Black Mamba without the helicopter. Back at the woodland, Rain gives Margaret a taste of his 3-line magic, like all 12 inches of it. This non-binary bozo realizes they just effed with the wrong dude and go for a tactical retreat, which is good news considering that Mash doesn't have to get roped into this drama. Instead, our hero brofists Rain because friendship is magic. A few days pass, and we next see Mash about to enter the Divine Visionary exams. Order tries to start some smoke with our boy because, you know, this moron probably didn't hear what our boy did to Vice Principal Farman. But our boy just shrugs him off, and Mashle's plot moves forward when this examiner explains what this Divine Visionary test is all about. Now, the Divine Visionary exam pretty much works like any other shonen manga or anime academic test, meaning that it's got tons of child endangerment in it. Basically, this whole event will have 12 kids fighting over 9 keys, while a trio of man-cleaving minotaurs chases them around. Oh, and these monsters are immune to magic, and they've each got a Wolverine-like healing factor too, so soon, Mash teams up with one of the other Divine Visionary aspirants, Max. They then find one of the keys, which Mash ultimately secures by doing his best ray gun impression. Meanwhile, a few of Mash's pals, like Dot and Lance, along with Margaret, manage to get their respective keys. As for our hero, Mash does Max a solid and tells him that he can keep the key, but Mash shows him that he's a true gentleman and insists that our boy keep it. Max is suddenly ambushed by another kid named Carpaccio, who happens to also be from the Orca dorm, proving that this series' Ravenclaw analog isn't just made up of nerds, they're made up of scumbags too. Carpaccio tries to use Max's leverage against our hero, but those German suplexes have to wait because Mr. Examiner jumps in and declares the second stage of the exams. This time, Easton Academy just went screw it and decided to make this test a three-way, and not the fun kind either. It's basically a no-holds-barred riot between the participants, which have been divided into teams of 3. The main objective of the test is to crush each other's crystals by any means necessary. Last team standing wins. This would have been all good for the Adler kids, but Lance ends up in another team, while Mash, Dot, and Finn work together. Even worse, Mash and Dot get stupid and accidentally destroy their own crystal. So now the only way that they can win is to make sure that Finn's crystal makes it all the way to the end of the game. Oh, and this test has one more weird rule too. The participants randomly spawn all over the playing field at the beginning, so they have to link up with one another first. On a side note, Mashle introduces another plot element in the form of the Master Canes. The long and short of it is that the Master Canes are a collection of 13 powerful ancient magic wands. Back to the story. Carpaccio manages to get his hands on Finn. Finn tries to get back with his hoodoo, but he just gets magically shivved in for his efforts. Well, surprise, surprise, because it turns out that Carpaccio owns one of the Master Canes, and this particular wand has the power to reflect attacks, which explains why Finn ended up turning into a pincushion when he tried to out-wizard Carpaccio. Regardless, Finn is a trooper, people. He refuses to hand over his crystal to Carpaccio, knowing that Mashle's going to get the chair if he fails to become a Divine Visionary. Carpaccio tries to murder him, but our main man bursts onto the scene and hulks the fuck out of this scumbucket. But damage return buff and all that, so Mash ends up taking his own beating when Carpaccio's big, hard wand does its thing whenever our boy tries to mount some offense. But if there's one thing that anime teaches us, it's that good old-fashioned assault always beats magic, so our hero just eats up all that reflected damage until Carpaccio's Master Cane conks out. And like that time a Shih Tzu thought one of our writer's marbles was a chew toy, Carpaccio is left defenseless without his wand. In turn, Mash gets saucy and body bags the scumbag by walloping him in the face with a tennis racket. As a matter of fact, Mash beats up Carpaccio so hard that this moron has no choice but to put some respect to our boy's name. The second phase of the Divine Visionary exams ends with all 4 of the Adler kids, Margaret, and some new guy named LeBlanc Russell, passing the test. Soon after, we learn that Order's still being a total D-bag when he orders Margaret to get rid of our hero during Phase 3 of the exams. Meanwhile, another Divine Visionary named Caldo Gehenna approaches our boy and challenges him to a game of you look, you'll lose. The prize? Mash gets an instant A+ in the 3rd phase of the exams. Now, this goofy game plays the same way as its real-world counterpart, where the goal is to avoid looking at wherever your opponent points. This is Mash's role here. On the other hand, it's up to Caldo to force our hero to look towards wherever he's pointing, using whatever trick he has up his sleeve. We're not exactly clear about the rest of Mash and Caldo's terms of agreement when it comes to the win conditions of this game. All we know is that our boy wins 3 rounds in a row and then loses the 4th one when a owl jacks one of his cream puffs. So Caldo declares the whole contest a draw. So 3 games to 1 is a draw in the Mashle universe? Yeah, right. Math, it's magic. It's magic. Mashle decides to stop filling time and proceeds with the 3rd round of the Divine Visionary exams, which is made up of classic one-on-one duels between the students. Mash goes up first, and his opponent is none other than Margaret. The bell rings, and we finally get one of our boys' trademark suplexes, but Margaret just eats it up like a champ. While this is happening, a bad magic man is about to reach Easton Academy while riding a dragon. Back to our hero, Margaret shows they're not a total cumbucket when they give Mash the opportunity to set aside the treasure our hero has in his pocket before they tussle again. Spoiler alert, it's another cream puff. And well, Margaret pretty much ragdolls our boy from there. This is probably the first time that Mash actually found himself in a bit of a jam, as Margaret just has their way with him after they clash. Mash eventually checks Margaret's whole music-based shtick, so he digs a hole in the ground and successfully nullifies his opponent's magic. So Margaret ups the ante by going for the classic shonen trope along the lines of, I didn't want to use my final form, but I'll do it for the sake of the plot! And by final form, we find out that Margaret's actually a fun-sized person who has super speed powers. And it works too, because our boy nearly gets knocked out during their succeeding clash. Meanwhile, the magic police have begun to mobilize in preparation for the bad wizard's imminent arrival. And it turns out that this villain happens to be Innocent Zero. Now, here's the thing. Innocent Zero actually means two things in Mashle. There's Innocent Zero, the criminal organization, and then there's Innocent Zero, the guy, who's basically Mashle Voldemort. Oh, and he also happens to be the founder of the Innocent Zero's organization. Is it confusing? Hell yeah, it is. Could he have chosen a different name for his criminal enterprise? Sure, but no, because brand recognition, baby, I mean, whatever. In any case, Mash is protected by a thick coat of plot armor, so he not only survives Margaret's salvo, but even saves the audience members watching the exams when Margaret tries to go nuclear on everyone. Margaret gasses out and takes the L just in time for Innocent Zero to arrive on the scene, where we get the big reveal that he's actually Mash's father. And like a true deadbeat dad, Innocent Zero wants to literally suck his kid into his body so he can achieve his complete form. Wahlberg then arrives and rescues our boy. Innocent Zero uses his powers to freeze time and attempts to murder everyone in the immediate vicinity with a few monsters, but Wahlberg doesn't fall for this freaky-deaky trick. In response, the headmaster unfreezes Mash and his buddies to deal with the creatures, while Wahlberg and Innocent Zero take their scuffle somewhere else. Mash ends up duking it out with Cell War, who you might remember from Season 1. Cell gets all hyped for his rematch, but Mash bursts his bubble when our boy doesn't even remotely remember his creepy ass. Not too far away, Lance and Dot end up becoming a liability when another Innocent Zero member named Sitter Baby turns them into, well, a couple of literal babies. This de-aging gimmick doesn't last long though, because Lance uses his big brain to beat Sitter's butt, which returns himself and Dot back to their usual hormonal teenage selves. We also get more backstory as we learn that both Innocent Zero, again the dude, not his poorly named criminal club, and Wahlberg studied under a wizard named Adam, who's supposed to be like Mashle's very own Magic Michael Jordan. Fingers crossed we'll get a Wahlberg Innocent Zero romance reveal down the line too. I mean, you've already cribbed what, like 70% of the Harry Potter franchise here. Komodo-sensei, might as well go all in while you're at it, you Back to our story. Mash finally remembers Cell as their scuffle approaches its boiling point. No big payoff for this duel just yet, however, because the series then fleshes out Adam's backstory. It's here that we learn that Adam was not only a magical goat, he also seemed to be a pretty cool dude. For one, it was Adam who founded both Easton Academy and the Bureau of Magic, and he didn't do it to simply help the witches and wizards of the world. Truth is, he established these things to make the lives of magicless scrubs better. Too bad, though, because Adam's been dead even before the series began. In the present, Innocent Zero desecrates Adam's corpse by turning it into a puppet controlled by one of his underlings, Necros Mance. The villain sicked the Adam meat puppet on Wahlberg, but the old man proves that you don't become headmaster of Eton by having a sweet-ass wizard beard. You prove it by messing up your enemies. Specifically, Wahlberg chops up Mance and sends him and the Adam puppet to parts unknown easy. While this is happening, Cell really can't help but flap his lips in front of Mash, so much so that he ends up informing our hero about his biological father's real plan. It's this word salad called Forbidden Magical Body Construction, and it's basically just a spell that turns Innocent Zero immortal. The catch is, Innocent Zero needs to rip out the hearts of each of his 6 sons to complete the ritual. Cell goes on to reveal that Mash actually happens to be Innocent Zero's youngest kid. In any case, Cell shows us that he's a loyal soldier when he summons his secret weapon to chop up Mash and harvest his organs, specifically the boy's heart. But our hero immediately puts the villain in his place when he shoves cream puffs down Cell's throat before choking him out. The sequence is so hardcore that you'd think you're watching an Anna DeVille video or some Mash wins the duel, but Cell is teleported away by one of his unseen allies. Meanwhile, Wahlberg may have easily taken care of Mance and the Adam puppet, but the old man has taken significant damage of his own. Namely, Wahlberg's left arm has become prunier than Morgan Freeman after a long soak in the tub. Now, Wahlberg has had enough of Innocent Zero's antics at this point, so he tries to use a super powerful spell to just erase him out of existence, called Uranus Inclination. To do this, Wahlberg has to use the Wand of Uranus, so yeah, the Wand of Uranus and Inclination of Uranus, yeah. That's real clever, Komodo-sensei. We see what you did there. Are we gonna get the gay romance between Wahlberg and Innocent Zero? I've been waiting patiently! Anyway, Uranus nearly blasts Innocent Zero, but the slippery villain uses his time hoodoo to render Wahlberg's gambit useless. Innocent Zero then gets ready to finish off Wahlberg, but Mash gets in on the action and gives his deadbeat dad a flying knee to the face. A father-son scuffle doesn't happen, though, because Innocent Zero tucks tail and runs before things can get more interesting. On the other hand, he does successfully steal Wahlberg's spatial magic mojo, which allows the old man to figure out that Innocent Zero wants to become immortal so that he can wield all the stolen magic he can get his hands on. Oh, and Innocent Zero leaves a giant monster as a parting gift for our heroes. Mash flattens the beast, and everyone at Easton realizes they've been acting like a bunch of filthy douche nozzles towards our boy the whole time. Our heroes take a victory lap. Mash feels good. Mash's friends feel good. Wahlberg feels good. Order doesn't feel good because he's a bigot. Cream puffs for everybody except you, Order. Only cool dudes get the cream. Anyway, Mashle's second season closes with Wahlberg pretty much setting up Innocent Zero as the legit big baddie of the story, since his criminal now has power over time and space. On the other hand, Mash passes his final exams. Barely. Still, W's a W. Then, there's this random idiot who forms a mob and tries to siege Easton Academy after learning that Mash is a muggle. And you know these SOBs deserve a suplex when they attempt to stone Dot to death after she declares her support for our boy. Long story short, Wahlberg takes care of the business and disperses the mob before Mash can kick their sorry asses. The season ends with Wahlberg going all like, "Everyone knows your secret now, child. This makes everyone you love a target for these anti-muggle morons out there. Do you know what that means? That these magicless people haters are just afraid of love, like how Proud Boys say they hate gay people because they're scared they love man-on-man action when they taste it? Oh yeah, but it also means you really need to become a divine visionary now if you want to save your friends and family."
Nice.
Oh. Oh. And that was Mashle Season 2 explained by Abaka, boys and girls. As always, thank you for sticking with us until the end of the video. We hope that you loved it. Drop a comment below to let us know your thoughts, cream puff recipes, or suggestions about other manga, manhwa, or anime series you want us to cover next. And please don't forget to give us a like, share, and subscribe to our channel with all your notifications turned on for more Baka goodness. We've got more videos in store for you, so feel free to check out the next one. We're sure you're going to love that one too. Till the next one, we love you!